Whoa! Oh, somebody found this for me.
Just need to do a total rewrite of the whole thing.
Wait, seriously, a total rewrite. That's your prediction for velocity.
Yeah.
Well, when you say a total rewrite, do you mean starting with the skeleton, or a bunch of engineers sit down with a whiteboard and say, "What is Twitter"? Revolution or reform?
I just mean like literally like there's like you could either try to amend the crazy stack that exists or rewrite it.
But when you say crazy stack, what do you mean? Like, break it down.
Have you seen George's like diagram?
No. I mean, like, what do you mean by crazy? No, seriously. Come on, buddy. Come on.
Who are you?
What do you mean? Who am I? I don't know. You gave me the mic. I got no.
I didn't give you the mic.
Whoa! I'm doing the mic, and let's keep it civil in my space.
I mean, yeah.
Like what? No, man. You're in charge of the servers and the programming, whatever. Like, what is the stack? Elon?
Keep things technical in my space, please.
Take me from top to bottom. What does the stack look like right now? What's so crazy about it? What's so abnormal about this stack versus every other large-scale system on the planet, buddy? Come on, give it to me.
All right. So first off,
amazing. Wow, you're a jackass.
Wow, amazing.
Sir, wait for the microphone.
Hello, everybody. Egon Chalakian. I am a simple retiree. I reside in Kyiv in Washington, D.C. My constituency is the Russian Orthodox Church.
Holy
I have my disputes with the church.
It's
and
him.
That subsequently takes me into the Balkans and beyond that into Western Europe.
Oh my God, he's real.
I was taken on by a large client constituency, well into the hundreds of thousands in Eastern Europe, asked to take on their plight. They are persecuted by the church, and there's death involved and so forth.
Not death.
Earlier on in my career, had been posted in Tehran during the revolution, so I lived over there. And Mr. Zelensky gave me a call one day and said, "Would you come out of retirement, sir?" Because I know the players. Why do I raise this? I had to figure out a way to communicate with the church and with Mr. Putin and so forth. And I could not turn to governments, not the way to go. I elected to use social media. Extortion, we call it. And I found that I had no way of ascertaining, am I successful, am I delivering my message or otherwise? Out of the blue, a mechanism called Vehicle, literally, Google contacted me.
What?
And said, "You are getting so many hits in Russia, Ukraine, all over."
Oh.
And they gave me the metrics to the extent that they said, "You're number one in Russia right now."
Okay. And then
So
what?
if I might compare it to our current
number
White House, basically I'm usurping Mr. Putin in popularity. Now, the reason I bring this up, question for you. Nobody has discussed your arsenal. How are you communicating your message? We're only talking about the message. That's the warhead. Where's the fuselage? Where's the motor? Nobody's mentioned that at all, and that is the most critical part. Targeting, getting that weapon, getting that warhead over there to your target.
So can I particularly ask each of you, to what extent do you use social media to communicate to the broader world? Why don't we start with the one most likely to use social media?
Oh my God, I mean, that's true. I think social media is incredibly important at this age. We cannot avoid it, whether we like it or not. And it comes with both positive and negative.
I bought a Benelli M5, but I can't pick it up for 5 days because I don't have a Florida concealed carry. The gun store that I went to, they have Apparently they got a shipment of Benelli. Wait, M4, M5. It's M4, right? What did I say? Did I say M5? Apparently they got a shipment of them that were for law enforcement. So it's a seven round with the collapsible whatever bullshit stock in the back. How cute. How cute is that? It was very expensive though. I'm not sure if I got ripped off. I don't know how much they usually sell, if those even like retail in the US. 'Cause I think it was like 2,300 for the shotgun. Ba-boom. Shut off on cake when you get it. I can't. Oh, I can't get it until 19. Till I'm 19. Sorry for my brain just scattered. I can't pick it up until the 19th. I think you have to wait 5 business days. I just watched your video clip from the main channel with a combo with Evil Dr. Mike. We're gonna watch the full video. I don't think it's posted yet. I did that interview like 3 weeks ago, and then I talked to Coleman Hughes yesterday. And then August will post that whenever, so. Is the full video coming up? I mean, whenever August wants to post it. Any updates regarding the call stuff? Which call stuff? Does August have all the Georgia stuff too? What's the Georgia stuff? Thoughts on Severance? Never watched it. Okay. What does this look like? Hold on. It just makes us look so weird. Oh. Oh, cute. Okay. Holy fuck, this footage is insanely high definition. Oh my god, this little camera is so cute. Whatever. We have a amazing experience. Bro, this fucking gun jams so many times. I hate my life. I got to shoot that alien 2 days ago. But it don't hit knock that off. Huh? Yep. Okay, cute. That works though. Okay. It's probably the type of ammo. No, the something was fucked with the slide. Either when because I think I put a different, I think that slide is one I put on because it has the red dot on it. So I don't know if will we ever see that footage? What of this? I don't know. Probably not. There's nothing much here. It was just me trying out shit. I need to find a way to get to, my little Rode mics to work with this, but I didn't go through all that bullshit. So the red dot was probably creating issue. The red dot is integrated into the slide. Yeah, it's a strange setup, but maybe when I put it together, maybe I just didn't have it together quite right, and that's why it was jamming so much. What is a .lrf file? Oh, are these just some type of file made for every single... Shut up. Oh, but you can see this red dot is not it's not on the slide. Oh, you can't see right now because it's where I'm holding it. But the red dot is actually on, the slide is in like 2 pieces. It's hard to explain. Maybe if he shuts the fuck up and actually shoots it. You can see that the slide thing will come back, but the red dot is stationary. I don't know if you can see, never mind, because it's a gun shooting and it's very fast, but but it fucking failed to feed. So on every single shot, this was my bad. Hopefully it doesn't do this next time.
This is a failure to feed.
Shut up. No one cares. Literally no one cares. This gun fucked up so many times. This is why you don't buy first-gen guns either. When the magazine is in, no one cares. Loser. Oh man, it's a lot of hand leaking out of the bottom. Lower 8, because if you... What? Shut up. Is that the Alien? Yeah. This is a P210. This is my favorite gun ever. I correct her on this, don't worry. Oh yeah, put the thumbs in. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Good job, wow. And then I pistol whip her, I smack her in the face. Oh, there's the Alien. Oh look, even, so I think this is their first time shooting pistols ever. This is almost 10 yards. These red dots are so easy. Look at this. Boom. Yeah. Boom, look at that. Not bad. Oh, wait, I think it's jammed. Let's see. Oh, no, no, that one fired. Okay, never mind. Shooting a little low. Oh, now it's jammed for sure, right? Oh, got a failure to feed. No one cares. Look at this, damn. It's at 20 yards. You could snipe people with this. I think I'm hitting that, right? Loser. Okay. Oh, these things are super cute too. I bought these like Axel. They mute the gunshots, but you can hear people speaking. Okay, there you go. Range time. AR-15 shopping stream when? Sometime. Oh, apparently at this range you can shoot shotguns if you have double odd buck. I don't know what the fuck that even means. 0-0 buckshot? Is that what that means? Are these like really big balls or? Gauge has to do with the diameter of the round. The cartridge. Do you even say cartridge for shotguns? 2 3/4 inch. Is that double aught? Is that what that means? So many numbers. I have a buddy who is GM in Carry Optics Class FR USPSA. I don't know what any of that means. He says that a lot of comp shooters have concerns about the reliability of the Alien, so it hasn't caught widespread adoption yet. Oh, that's not surprising at all. Because the Alien is like, it's a new platform and it's a first generation, right? So like, that means that it's probably going to be glitchy. More so than any other gun, right? That's not surprising. I think, aren't those staccatos, haven't they gotten a little bit more use in terms of, those are like crazy good pistols, but they've been manufactured for longer? Why don't you take some firearms training? I've done a little bit with pistols, like basic stuff. I think it's just a matter of practicing now. I don't know what else you can learn. I feel like I'm fairly accurate at like 20 yards with that P210. I feel like most of it is just slowing down when you're shooting, and then not jumping the trigger or whatever is like the biggest issue that probably new shooters like I would have, I think. Like if I just focus on that more, I usually do fine. How many people have you shot? I don't know, less than 10. Playing the new Jump King this stream. There's a new Jump King? Did you see the clip of Musk's kid saying you weren't president? No, I haven't.
Tucker, any thoughts on Kanye's tweets?
Well, I know
What, he said he loves Hitler?
Yeah.
I don't really know what that means, actually.
What?
He could just be talking about the name Hitler. I mean, he makes hit songs. Maybe he's talking about one of his songs, his music. I don't really listen to his music, but I'm quite fond of it, actually. I like that he does make it.
Oh, I feel like he's got really good mannerisms. He just doesn't have the voice at all for it. But I feel like the mannerisms are spot on for Tucker.
I don't listen to it, but I enjoy it.
You don't listen, but you enjoy it.
Maybe he speaks a little bit too quickly.
I don't like jumping to conclusions about what we think somebody means. Only they really can answer that question.
He was pretty clear.
Whoa. Has someone spoken to him? I haven't spoken to him. So to say you love Hitler, maybe he's talking about the name objectively. We don't know that. And I don't want to be involved in it, but I mean, maybe it's I love hit and lur is some kind of slang, some kind of urban slang. Hitler. I'm not in that world. I'm not in that culture. I don't know.
So Tucker, what are you saying?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
This isn't a joke. There's naked pictures of me all over the internet. Like what you see? I hope you do, because there's plenty more where that came from. What is going on? Who's jacking off to this? It's not me. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's your family.
Yeah, his voice isn't quite there, but this is very close too. Dude, Nick Mullen. Me and Pisco had dinner with this guy, and it's so funny. And Nick is like, yeah, I don't really do politics. I don't know anything. And Pisco will be like, yeah, there was this pollster in Kansas, I think. And Nick will be like, oh, yeah, that was like John Frazzero. He did polling from 2009 to 2014. I think he's 52 years old. He was a registered. He would like know so much shit, and be like, wait, how the fuck do you even? And he's like, I don't know, man. I just see shit on Twitter or whatever. He's a funny dude. So you went on Piers today? Yeah, I did it this morning. It was meh. A lot of just like trans athletes and
Good morning, John. I don't think this is about USAID. You and I both know that that agency does lots of amazing work. It is a very cheap way to keep the world more stable and more diseases controlled and fewer people suffering, but I don't think that's like the core issue here. The core issue is the extent to which the Constitution matters anymore. This country is founded on the idea that separate branches share power. And while it is frustrating that a narrow congressional majority seems to have happily given up that power, at least temporarily, it can't actually do that. It isn't allowed to give its power to the president because the separation of powers is the whole idea that the nation is based on. USAID was created by a law passed by Congress. It is funded by laws passed by Congress.
USAID close, but close enough. Technically, I think USAID was authorized by Congress, and then it was created by executive order, and then it was solidified as a separate office by Congress. But this is like getting real into the weeds. But for the most part, it's close enough, I think.
We all learn in elementary school that Congress has the power of the purse. Congress decides how almost all money in America is spent, not the president. The president unilaterally dissolving USAID is illegal. He could have worked with Congress to get them to pass a law to dissolve USAID, which would be the legal way to have it no longer exist, but he did not do that. This isn't a violation of a law that was passed by Congress. It's not even a violation of an amendment to the Constitution. It's in Article 1. Congress passes laws to determine how money is spent. And if the president can just
I'm not ready for like the extremely crazy argument. So Andrew, I'm just not psychologically prepared. Andrew Wilson this morning on Piers, his argument was the process is working. And I was like, wait, what do you mean the process is working? He was like, well, if he breaks the law, then the judges will say, stop breaking the law. And it's like, wait, is that the process? You just break as many laws as you can, and then whatever the judges tell you to stop breaking the law, and you, wait, what?
Walk in and
then I had to say that like 3 times, but neither of them would acknowledge it. I was like, there's a judge has already said they've continued to break the law. They're already doing that, but
dismantle the work of Congress, that isn't just a refutation of the founding document of the country. It's a logistical nightmare. It calls into question why Congress exists at all. You can't run a country if everything is burned down and
True. Wait, hold on one sec, sorry.
Started fresh every
Illuminator, thanks for subbing.
4 years, obviously. But Trump, or Elon Musk, or whoever, seems to want to test the limits of this country. And so they are testing those limits. I don't know if USAID is like a good first target for that, because it's not something that immediately affects very many Americans, so it doesn't have a ton of people here to defend it. But again, I don't think this is about USAID. It's about whether or not the president suddenly has a bunch of unconstitutional powers, and I would simply like to make the case that he obviously does not. A press release from the White House recently referred to Donald Trump, quote, signing an executive order into law. I know this is like nuts and bolts, boring schoolhouse rock civics, but that's not how laws get made, and if we don't remember that, the country is going to stop working. That's why we had Schoolhouse Rock, so that when people try to do it a different way and then the courts tell them that they're wrong, we all agree with the courts. I've been thinking this whole week about a line from Ezra Klein's recent essay on Trump's first few weeks back in office, which is also a YouTube video that's good. You should watch it. I'll link in the description. But the line was, Trump is acting like a king because he is too weak to govern like a president. In the essay, the case for Trump being a legislatively weak president is made pretty clear. The narrowest majority in the House since there have been 50 states, a narrow margin in Congress. He has a higher disapproval rating than any incoming president since we started doing polling. And so perhaps, instead of trying to create durable change, he's governing largely through executive order. And
why is the president the commander-in-chief? Isn't that a problem with the balance of powers between the three bodies? So I think that the theory, the idea goes that you want to have a slow, deliberate, painfully, agonizingly contemplative process when it comes to figuring out what the country should do. That's what Congress is for. That's what the House and Senate are for. You got a bunch of different people. You've got two houses, an upper and a lower house, which I don't know if that's even that common. I think usually the upper house is like a rubber stamp, I think like the House of Lords. So you've got two deliberative bodies that are selected. It's just a lot of time to figure out what to do. But once legislation has been passed and handed over to the executive should be able to act swiftly and vigorously. Once you have a law passed, you know what you want to do, then you should be able to have an executive just carry things out. You don't want two people with power that are second guessing each other in terms of how do you function, how do you wield that power. That's why the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. You're not supposed to have people second guessing each other at the top. It's why the executive is in charge of carrying out laws once they've been passed. Like the president is supposed to be able to function in that way. And arguably that's a good thing. You have the gridlock in Congress, but then once the gridlock is resolved, you have a vigorous executive that carries things out with all the swift and vigor of a powerful, enabled executive body.
Also through other untested, probably illegal unilateral actions. And there are really three ways, I think, to see this. First, if you're super sympathetic to Trump, you might see it as the United States has become so corrupt, is so broken, that we have to stop caring about the Constitution, maybe just for a little bit. We have to let the world's richest man into the treasury so that he can stop payments at his whim. We have to remove security professionals for obeying the law. We have to say that it's okay for the president to take the power of the purse away from Congress, to let him defund whichever parts of the government he would like to defund, because as he has always said, he alone can fix this. Second, perhaps there's like a flood the zone tactic going on. He's just trying to keep everyone distracted and confused and to try everything.
Wait, it's very common. The problem is that the U.S. doesn't have another higher executive than the president. This is usually the governor general in Commonwealth nations. It stops them from doing fucked up shit. Well, what if the governor general does fucked up shit?
Thing as fast as he can to occupy the press and the courts and the public and to just see what sticks. Or third, perhaps he is doing this because he wants to change things, but he knows that trying to pass legislation when he has narrow majorities in the House and Senate would likely fail, and he hates the idea of failing. And those second two do look more like the reality at the moment. Already lots of Trump's executive orders have done nothing but be news stories for a moment before getting blocked as obviously unconstitutional. But the reality is there's two ways of seeing this. Either it is okay okay to ignore the Constitution when your side is doing it, or this is the unacceptable action of people who are not strong enough, either politically or in character, to actually govern. So the question...
I've gotten 3 different emails. I don't know how true anything is. Just I always preface, these are just emails. But I've gotten 3 different emails at this point from people who are like in fucking... they're like distraught that a ton of research at their particular universities, like a ton of stuff has just been completely axed or like put on pause, and there's like a whole bunch of uncertainty around around everything relating to grants. Hold on. I had one guy who sent me, I thought this was an interesting email. I'll just read it just for your guys' edification and mine as well. I want to tell you something about what happened with the NIH because A, it may not receive much attention outside of research/medical circles, and B, I noticed something that punctuates an idea you've mentioned regarding how processes can often be more important than conclusions or outcomes. Skip to point 3 below if you only have time for the latter. Actually, wait, we'll finish watching this and then I'll read this guy's email because I think it ties into this a little.
Becomes if you don't like that, then how do you make it not happen? And the big way is to simply not believe them when they say that they are more powerful than the Constitution. The reason the Constitution is more powerful than Elon Musk or Donald Trump isn't just the legacy of this nation or the laws it is bound to uphold. It's that the Constitution is a good document that we collectively believe in. That separation of powers isn't something that somebody thought would be a fun thing to try out. It's a very good idea. It's a good idea that was created by people who had been living under a king and didn't want to do that anymore. And the result of that hard work, that hard thought, and the creation of that good document was America. And the times when we have violated those principles are real and they exist and they are shameful, and we don't want to be living through one of those times. We do not want to be part of that kind of shame. And I do think that the law will stand, and I hope that the American people will say, yes, that was the correct thing to have happen. Not just, oh, Trump tried to do this and then the courts blocked him. No, Trump tried to do this, the court said it was unconstitutional, and I don't like any president as much as I like America. Already multiple lawsuits have been filed outlining why shutting down USAID is illegal. Trump fans might see that as the deep state fighting back, but what it actually is people saying that there is a reason why we have laws. And it isn't just to tell you what you can and can't do. It's to uphold the structures that have upheld this nation for 250 years. John, I'll see you on Tuesday.
Thanks, Hank. Right, that's Hank, right? The change is that the NIH capped indirect cost rates at 15% for grant funding. The average is currently about 30%, affected immediately. Indirect costs are given as part of a research grant to cover pooled costs for the university that cannot be applied to any one research project. The image below gives you more information. He gave me an image. This move appears to be done for government spending efficiency. It would save the NIH $4 billion. As you can expect, this has sent researchers and universities scrambling, in part because universities have already negotiated and budgeted their rates, but this new rate appears to go into effect immediately. Researchers have already been scrambling since an unprecedented freeze on NIH communications that lasted for 2 weeks, but this is a new development and probably worse. And then he links an image, and the image says, what are indirect costs? Indirect, F&A, facilities and administrative. Infrastructure costs required to conduct research, but cannot be specifically identified or easily allocated to individual projects. Rate determined every 4 years. Administrative are general administration, so services such as personnel, payroll, purchasing, financial management, presidents, provosts, VPs. Departmental administration, program and administrative costs at the college, school, or department level. Sponsored research, units establish research or training regardless of source, compliance with research requirements. Student services, graduate student services. And then it says administrative costs are capped at 26% for universities. Facilities, research, infrastructure costs are building depreciation, so the space study, fraction of building use that can be attributed to research efforts, interest on debt for certain buildings, equipment, and capital improvements, equipment depreciation on equipment not purchased with federal funds when located in a room and space study, and then operations and maintenance, utilities, maintenance, custodial, environmental health, transportation, and security. Yeah, so Cynical Brit in chat says, as an example, the university maintains an expensive electron microscopy core used by multiple departments and projects. So that makes sense. There's probably going to be some places that have good infrastructure, but like you wouldn't be able to attribute those to a singular research project. So it's kind of like pooled costs over several research things. Point one is about some of the likely impacts of this decision. There's not much actionable here, in part because the impacts will play out in the long term, but I have just provided it for some background on initial reactions from the research community. 1. Damaging to U.S. interests, research and economic. Subpoint A. Encouraging university researchers to pursue more non-government funding sources for research could open them up to conflicts of interests from private funding institutions, restricting the independence of researchers. Subpoint B, these indirect costs are analogous to infrastructure funding. Money that goes to universities pays for contractors to build and maintain buildings and equipment, IT to troubleshoot computers, etc. Universities are already economic powerhouses, and spending money on indirect costs creates positive economic outcomes in terms of jobs, manufacturing, and further spending. Reducing that funding could lead to worse economic outcomes. And then subpoint C, it seems like basically no university actually gets their negotiated rate in indirect costs. If NIH cuts the negotiated rates to 15%, but retains caps in place that lower the base amount from which the indirect rate is calculated, then the actual calculated rates that universities get toward indirect costs will be even lower. Later, I mentioned that universities already cost-share administrative costs with the NIH, in part because enforcing modern regulations has put them over the 26% cap. It's pretty easy to see how further budgetary strain would tighten the squeeze on researchers and cause universities to cut research activity. Point 2 shows how ideas about unregulated money being handed out to universities for administrative bloat are lies, which also obfuscate the fact that the NIH had multiple ways to approach the problem of wasted grant money, yet they chose the most inflammatory one. Point 2 is their regulation. Subpoint A. The NIH in 2015 suggested that indirect costs are important to provide the infrastructure for the research conducted under direct costs of grants. Moreover, it appears that the indirect costs are limited to research activities. For example, if the university builds a building and 1/3 of the building is being used for research, then only that 1/3 can fall under the indirect costs. The NIH's policies do not authorize randomly spending grant money under the guise of overhead. Lastly, the amount indirect costs can be put towards administrative costs was already capped at 26%. Regulations regarding research projects have increased such that universities were already cost-sharing with the NIH in 2015 because their administrative costs exceeded the cap. The notion that universities shouldn't spend grant money on administrative waste has been addressed. If there is still a problem with waste, and there may very well be, then the government has already demonstrated that it can take regulatory action that doesn't require dramatically cutting funding and risking the competitiveness of U.S. research. Further sourcing on the idea that the NIH funding is meant to go specifically towards research, even in indirect costs, and the links if you have links here. Subpoint B, directly, HHS, that's Health and Human Services, RFK, who's now confirmed, I think his new department, is usually in charge of negotiating indirect cost rates, and their negotiators do not just offer blank checks. HHS offers one level of regulation, but there's another level of regulation via the Government Accountability Office, the GAO. In 2016, the GAO conducted a report on the problem of potential waste and indirect costs. They found issues that could enable waste and issued recommendations. HHS implemented all recommendations and indicated further actions. You already heard the third level of regulation when the OMB instituted a 26% cap on administrative indirect costs. The GAO also examined the effects of that policy soon after it was implemented, offering another level of regulation. C, why harp on regulation so much? The job of this cohort of Russian bots, Elon Musk, Doge, etc., is to convince people that the government operates in chaos and that there's no accountability for anything that occurs. They have to keep lying in their justifications for curtailing agencies because they are wrong. Checks and balances are not only a macro-governmental idea, they also work in micro-governmental areas. And then point 3 shows where this idea came from. Decisions by federal agencies cannot be taken for granted under this administration because their logical processes may be just as bad as Trump's and Musk's themselves. Point 3 is indicative of a broader takeover of all agencies under the executive branch by intellectually deficient sycophants towards Trump/Project 2025. Subpoint A, the NIH offered 2 justifications for cutting indirect cost funding, and then subpoint 1, private foundations offer lower indirect cost rates than the average NIH indirect cost rates. This is a dishonest comparison. The NIH has offered about the same indirect cost percentage over time. Why didn't anyone think about matching private institution rates before? As you can probably expect, it's because the federal government's role in indirectly funding is different than those of private foundations. The NIH is a much larger source of funding for universities than private nonprofits. They offer a broad mandate allowing for infrastructure to be built that assists many research projects at a university. Then, on top of that federally funded infrastructure, the fourth paragraph from the end and the link he sends, private foundations assign further funding for narrower projects. Drastically cutting federal funding would affect broad infrastructure and maintenance in a way that private foundations cannot fund. This is a dishonest justification because administrators at the NIH know all of this. If they're that stupid that they don't, then we're in an even worse situation. The NIH also knows that the indirect cost rate of, say, 50% of universities grant funding, conservative estimate of the NIH percentage, is not comparable to the indirect cost rate of, say, 10% of a university's grant funding. Conservative estimate of private foundation percentage is not comparable to the indirect cost rate of, say, I don't understand that point. I don't know if you talk about that. It gets worse. Where did the delusional idea to compare the NIH rates to private foundations come from? This doesn't look like a justification that came from discussion within the NIH unless they literally plagiarized it from Project 2025. Oh, and then he copy-pasted a thing from Project 2025 that says that they should cap indirect cost rates at universities. It gets even worse. The NIH also mentions something that doesn't sound possible in their justification. Quote, indeed, one recent analysis examined what level of indirect expenses research institutions were willing to accept from funders of research. Of 72 universities in the sample, 67 universities were willing to accept research grants that had 0% indirect cost coverage. One university, Harvard, required 15% indirect cost coverage, while a second, California Institute of Technology, required a 20% indirect cost coverage. Only 3 universities in the sample refused to accept indirect cost rates lower than their federal indirect rate. These universities were the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the University of Michigan, and the University of Alabama at Birmingham. End quote. Many of these universities negotiated indirect cost rates of 50% plus or minus with the HHS. Yet they're saying they would be okay with 0%. Fractions of their currently negotiated rates. I had to go find the actual analysis to confirm, and lo and behold, the most common minimum acceptable indirect cost rate the university would accept from private organizations is 0%. Oh, so now he's quoting where the research was from, and that was only from private organizations, not from the NIH. The NIH makes it sound like the analysis asked universities about decreasing their indirect cost rates from HHS, and they were completely fine with fractions of their current rates. Every part of that is a lie. The analysis doesn't seem to ask universities. It seemed to report their published policies. Funders of research from the NIH, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay, so this is just basically how they're all lying. Yeah, okay. Why the fuck isn't this guy, hey, wait. Hey, thanks, I appreciate the email. Also, post this stuff in the subreddit. What the fuck do people send me this shit? They should post it in the subreddit too. Motherfucker. So we don't have 50 million pictures of tweets. One day ago. What is this?
Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. Project for Awesome is this weekend, and the fundraiser is live now. But listen, I know almost nothing about almost everything. I don't know how helicopters work or how to measure the distance between the stars, etc., ad literally infinitum. But I do know a lot about tuberculosis and how TB medication works because I spent the last 4 years writing a book about tuberculosis. So I can't tell you much about stars or helicopters, but I can tell you what is likely to happen when TB medication and diagnostics that have already been paid for rot in warehouses due to stop work orders issued by the US government. So a bit of background, tuberculosis is a curable disease, but it's not easy to cure. The TB bacteria has a thick, fatty cell wall that's very difficult to penetrate, making the bacteria hard to kill. So while a strep infection might be cured with like 7 days of antibiotics, TB requires several months of antibiotics. In the past, it was common to take antibiotics even for years to cure the disease. Like I have one friend who survived TB after taking between 20 and 30,000 pills.
Jesus.
But with the current standard of care, so-called drug-sensitive tuberculosis, that is TB that responds responds to our first-line antibiotics can be cured with between 4 and 6 months of daily therapy. TB that doesn't respond to one or more of those drugs, known as drug-resistant TB, takes at least 6 months to cure and often much more than that. Okay, so here's the critical thing to understand about...
There used to be this really sick spokes guy for TB. But he thought he had tuberculosis, but he didn't. They even got a guest star.
Clamping down.
I want everybody out of here now.
Get the crash guardies.
Look at those 4:3 aspect ratio TVs.
Everybody out of here now.
Get the crash guardies having a cardiac arrest.
All right. Get them out.
Wait, holy shit. Is this real? Cincinnati Children's Hospital denies Vice President J.D. Vance's 12-year-old, relative, I thought it was daughter, a heart transplant because she's not vaccinated against COVID-19 per NYP. I'm talking so far outside of any medical knowledge I know, but my guess would be that you probably need to be completely up on your vaccines to get any sort of transplant. That's not surprising at all, because if you're getting a transplant, you have to be on immunosuppressant drugs for the rest of your life. So you're already more susceptible to illness. It wouldn't surprise me if there was like a whole battery of immunizations and shit that they were making sure you would have before getting a transplant. That'd be my guess. Also, this is per New York Post, so this might not even be true, maybe. There's not even a good argument to not have the COVID vax here, because if you're a conspiracy theorist, if you're a conspiracy theorist on the COVID vax, what's your leading conspiracy theory? It causes myocarditis and pericarditis. Okay, well, that's in the old heart that's getting thrown in the trash anyway. So why not get the vaccine? Have it blow your heart up. You're getting a heart transplant anyway. Who cares, right? Does the donor person's vaccine record have to match? I have no idea about that. My guess is no. I don't know if their thing matters as much, but I'm not sure. I think you have to be careful with the vaccines for liver transplant. Some doctors recommend against COVID vax for liver transplant, I think. I've never heard that before. That could be true, though. I just don't know anything about it. Galotech stands back there. Yeah, I think I'm going to get a different thing, though. I think I'm going to get a different thing for holding the pistols. I don't like these horizontal wall mounts because they sag a little bit. So I feel like I would rather just get the... Wait, this is not... I clicked an ad, didn't I? Did I just get fucking baited? I so got baited. Good job, Google. You got me. I was going to say, this is not their website. Fuck me, dude. I think this is what I have right now, but I don't like it because I think they sag. Even though I screwed in that top one, it still sags a little bit. It's not perfectly horizontal, which is driving me crazy. But you can instead get, I think just these. I think these might look better. Like just having the little things like that is fine, I think. Why do you have so many guns? I don't have that many. Or I guess it depends on who you ask. Why do I have... My first gun was a Glock 17 because everybody recommends a Glock. And the 17 is a big, nice, hardy, fun, it's cheap. The Glocks are just standard because they never break. You can put 10,000 rounds through them without cleaning them. They're super reliable. I think a new Glock 17 is probably, what, like $600 maybe? So that was my first one. My second one was a Mosin Nagant, but I don't have that one. I think that's at home or in Nebraska. And then I wanted a better concealed carry weapon, so I got the two most common I've heard recommended are the two bottom ones. It's a Smith & Wesson Shield, and then it's a P365 SAS, and those are both like really standard micro compact 9mm guns that are both nice. And then second from the top is a P210, which I think is like the most fun handgun ever, at least for the range. Can only hold 8 rounds in the magazine, but super fun to shoot. And the top is an Alien Luago, which is some experimental $5,000 handgun that is supposed to shoot really nice as well. And I've shot one before that was really nice, and this one jams a lot, so hopefully next time I go it's not fucked. You need to increase the brightness of your key light. You need more contrast between you and the background. So I don't really know what to do about that. I do need more contrast, but I don't know if the issue is that, I think the issue is just that that wall is white, so it's always going to absorb more color. And I don't know how to make me stand out more than from the background. Like I have a key light here and I've got a light here, but if I make them any brighter, it also makes that wall brighter back there. I don't know what to do about that. I've tried to aim them. Like this one aims like this. It's almost totally horizontal, but are the springs on the M&P shield still super fucking tight? I used to sell them when they first came out. What spring for what? Like for racking the slide or? What makes a gun fun to shoot? What makes a gun fun to shoot? Well, I mean, all metal frames are fun because they're larger, so less recoil. I think all metal ones just feel nicer, so less recoil is always nice. It's very accurate, which is nice. It looks cool. I mean, the feel of a trigger can be nice. I don't know if I'm good enough to like give you like super accurate like the trigger pull on this one is so better, blah blah blah. I don't know. Ask a pro shooter. Like the top one, that Alien one, is really nice because you can shoot, and because of the way the slide works and the red dot works, you can just shoot over and over and over again without it really resetting your aim much, and you can be incredibly accurate shooting rapid fire with it, which is like really fun. But I shoot a Glock 17 for my job. What are your cop? But the grips are too big, dainty hands. Any experience with shaving down a grip? Is that a Metal Gear Solid 3 reference? The Glock 17 is a big handgun, but get a fancy custom wall with cutouts, big blue D branding with backlighting. You're rich, LeMayo. Maybe. Maybe. Damn, this guy mogs the fuck out of me. Your neck should be a USP compact. You'll love to shoot that one. Great trigger pull. True. Not because of anything you just said, but because I remember that gun from Metal Gear Solid 2. Always buy video game guns. I almost bought that. It's a Jericho 941 because it's what Cowboy Bebop uses. I love Cowboy Bebop. He's my favorite guy ever. But I've heard that this gun is a piece of shit. And it'll like, I don't know if this was the one I was looking at where it can even drop fire. Like if you drop it and it hits the ground, it'll fucking shoot. I don't know if that was true or not, but I've heard bad things about this firearm, so I don't know. But Spike uses it. As a 38-year-old gunsmith with 92 years of experience, the only good handgun is a snub-nose 38 like that guy used to execute the Viet Cong duder. Damn. Why do you need to show off your guns? I don't know, because I don't have anything to show off. I'm not like I don't buy things. I just like do computer shit. So if I have something I collect, I might as well put it on a stand somewhere. Then you'll need an AR pistol built. I don't think I would ever get an AR pistol. I feel like I would just look for I finally bought the Benelli shotgun. I can pick that up on the 19th. I don't remember what I've shot. I've shot a few pistol caliber carbines, but I don't remember what they were. Carbines. Is it really pronounced carbine? It looks like carbine. These are also just incredibly fun to shoot. But I don't remember which ones I've fired before. But I'm guessing all of them are pretty sick. Is there a way to add lighting to point along the brightest portions of the walls to cast it in a shadow? Almost. Maybe if the majority of light comes from the windows, putting something in front of them to block the parts that prevent you from standing out. I have no idea. Here's my... AR pistols can also mean 5.56. It's kind of a way to get around the SBR laws. Yeah, but would I want an AR pistol chambered in 5.56? That sounds cringe. I don't know. Wait, hold on. Oh, seriously. Hold on one sec. Like these are, I even put different things on the what do you call it, diffusers, like these little diffuser screen things on the lights. But like these are my two lights on the side. Like this is arguably my key on the left, and also the window with the sunlight. And then this is my my fill, I guess. Although I think I have both of these blasting at 100%. But like I don't know what else to do. Like this is almost faced like directly at me and almost a little bit that way. But it still seems like they put out enough light that it lights up the wall behind me enough, like more than it lights me up. I mean, the wall behind me is white, so it absorbs light super easily as well. Or I shouldn't say absorbs, it reflects light as well. You can get a grid for your lights to control spill onto your background. I don't know what that means when you say that. Get a grid for your lights to control spill onto your background. I don't know what you mean when you say that. I imagine you don't want straight up curtains to block out the view. Would sheer curtains block that much out? Well, even at night, I'm still not lit as brightly as I'd like to be compared to the wall back there. Photographer here, it looks totally fine. I mean, it doesn't look horrible, but like I could be lit more compared to my background. Like I think immediately if you were to just look at me, like my background is probably lit, maybe just because it's white, it's lit better than I am. Or we're almost like fighting. Like if I could be like 5 shades, that means nothing. Of lightness better than that background, it would be better, but. You're lifting it, I saw the creatine on your desk. No, since they banned the gender reassignment drugs, I just take creatine until I get a fat fucking pussy. Your background is blurry, you should bring it in focus. The background is supposed to be blurry technically. Get rid of the jackets hanging in the background. Why? It's my entryway. What happened to your filters you were using when you first came back with the new setup? I don't use filters on any of my shit. I don't know why people think I'm using filters. I don't even know where I would put... Well, no, I mean, I'm sure I could figure out where to put them in on OBS or something, but... What kind of lights are you using for your key and fill? They're just Nanlite... something 60. Nope. Why? Did you know? I've complained about this in chat. I don't know if I've complained about this on stream. This website is Jewish. Like it's Jewish owned. Like on Friday night to Saturday evening, you can't add anything to your cart, or you can't like ship anything or like confirm an order because they're on the website is on Shabbat. Like it goes on Shabbat vacation. Why? It's so cringe. Or not, I guess. Maybe based. Why don't they have can't they just get like a Shabbat slave to run things or whatever? Where the fuck can I find? Is your goal a background you can keep, or do you think it's good to make gradual changes? If I can add anything or whatever, I'd make changes, but ideally I just want to have like a stable background. But I like this one more than the one I had out there. It's a little bit more intentional. If you have room behind you, you could add a hair light that also hits a touch of your shoulders and wraps around you, which will make you stand out more. I've already got that. And I think it's on. Oh, it got moved a little. This, yeah. I could make it brighter, but then it would be crazy. Check out r/creatine. It's the best shit posting sub left. I know, that's what I was referring to. It's a good meme sub. Would sheer curtains help block most of the light that hits that wall? Basically, it leaves enough of your camera lights to hit. Which sheer curtains? Where would I even put them at? Please tell me what your key and fill are. I'm here to help. I remember you. You're a crazy, unhinged guy. My key and fill aren't going to make a difference here. I need to find a way to just make them not hit the back wall. Fuck me. I don't know. Which are they? There's a Nanlite kit that sells two of these things. This is my key and my fill. Look, they're even by just for me. Pab Slim 60Bs. I've got 2 of these, I believe. Did you hear Rolex is pulling out of the US? That's actually crazy. Wait, like confirmed? Do you prefer high-rise or a house? I like apartments, personally. I don't want to fucking mow the lawn or any of that bullshit. Destiny, link. Yes, bro, yes, I literally have both of these already set up. This is my picture. I literally have these 2 boxes set up, yes. That's what this is, right? I'm assuming this soft box here, yes. There's nothing on Rolex leaving, and it's not a US brand. Oh, okay. You're always going to keep the door open. Could mount the shotgun rack to the back of the door so it shows when closed. I don't think I want to, like, this. It's just like a cheap wooden door. I feel like I would destroy the door. Also, having a closed door is just, it sucks. And I can shoot more light back there, so. Are you loading the creatine or only doing 5 grams like a soy boy? I do 5 grams an hour, bro. If you're not juicing at least 250 grams of creatine a day, what the fuck are you doing with your life? I like it when you do 200 plus grams of creatine a day as well, because you can never like thirst to death, because you develop like a hump in your stomach, like a camel, where you store all the extra water that you need to become shredded as fuck. But then if you get thirsty and you're outside, you just draw from all of the water that the mass creatine is helping you store. You need to raise the light higher and aim it down more. I mean, I could do that, but then I'm worried that I would create like really harsh shadows under my eyes and it would look like really dramatic, no? If I aim it down more though, maybe that would help. I don't know, I'll try it tonight. I need it to be like dark in here to see how it impacts my night shot. You're not doing creatine IV? No, there's too much risk poking your fucking shit in and out of your veins over and over again. Usually if you get like the little capsules like this, you can just pop them right into your ass and then you absorb it throughout the day. Lower your fill and point it upwards, opposite the fill. You mean the key to soften those shadows? Maybe. Why don't you close the left half of the window with a curtain so that the light hits more of your half of the room rather than the back? I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it, okay? When is the full when is the full podcast with Evil Mike dropping? I don't know. Whenever August wants to drop it. Okay? He's had it for 3 weeks. It's up to him. He's the YouTube guy. Okay, let's read this real quick. Voters were right about the economy. Destiny was wrong. Sorry, the data was wrong. Here's why unemployment is higher. Wages are lower and growth less robust than government statistics suggest. Uh-oh. What happened to uploading in 4K? What is my stream at right now? Settings, video. Oh, it's probably in 1440p. Was it like that before, or was it at 4K before? Why isn't Destiny not contacting a brand for this shit and getting it for free or a massive discount? Oh, for Nanlite? It's like a Chinese brand. I don't even know if they sponsor anybody, firstly. Secondly, I don't know. I really don't like... If I like shit, I like... Oh, I know why I have it at 1440, not 4K. The reason... sorry, fuck. Stop distracting me. If I like stuff, I like to buy it to support the company, I guess. I don't know. It feels good to buy things and support companies. The reason why we weren't doing 4K is because if I have the stream set to 4K, when I'm live streaming, it makes it so that the speed is the latency. I have to put it to normal latency. I can't use low latency, which means there's like a 30-second delay, I think, between my videos. So like the chat responses are really bad. I mean, the interviews you film, why is that in 1080p? Oh, I don't know. Ask August. Maybe it's still uploading the higher quality version?
Sir.
I don't know which part of our combo he uploaded here, but the end of my conversation with Mike was a lot better than I thought it would be. I was really worried this was going to be horrible. The stuff he says about like corporations running governments, that's just some crazy libertarian shit that I'm not okay with. But I didn't fight too much on this. But there's a part where we talk about like, oh, what are things that we could do better for people that are less genetically predispositioned to be like better people or whatever. And he has a lot of actually interesting ideas that I thought that I'm glad he had, rather than just like, oh, those people are genetically fucked, get rid of them, you know? You should get into skateboarding. It'll be a fun hobby. I think skateboarding is for like 20s. I think when you're in the 30s, I don't think you have the luxury of having hobbies like that, because if you fall and hurt yourself, you're out for like 3 weeks. Okay? Listen, I'm not that old, but... How did you contend with the idea that corporations are more efficient than government? I mean, I don't know if that's true, but also corporations can afford to take more risk. J6 video still happening? Maybe. It's on my computer right now, okay? I just need to do a little bit more work with it. If corporates were running government, do you think slavery ever would have been abolished? Who knows? Why do you take creatine? I don't know. It's like a free rep when you're fully loaded. Why not?